A mother peacock had just laid her eggs when a giant snake attacked her. It was a normal day at the animal sanctuary. The birds sang cheerfully, the sun shone warmly, and all the animals seemed to be enjoying their lives. But in one corner of the sanctuary, tragedy struck. A ferocious fight was taking place, attracting the attention of all the animals and humans nearby. In the middle of the chaos, a majestic peacock with emerald green feathers and a golden beak lay wounded. Her left wing was pinned under the weight of a large rock, trapping her and preventing her from flying away. To make matters worse, she had recently given birth to 5 beautiful babies and was worried that they would be in danger if she couldn't free herself. She tried her best to free herself, but no matter how hard she tried, the heavy rock wouldn't budge. Just when she felt all hope was lost, a brave man named John appeared. He was a volunteer at the sanctuary who had been taking care of the animals for many years. Without hesitation, he rushed to help the trapped peacock. As John approached, the situation became even more dramatic. A huge python, the very one responsible for blocking the peacock's escape, suddenly lunged at him, its sharp teeth bared in a terrifying snarl. John was taken aback by the snake's sudden attack, but he quickly regained his composure. Remembering that panicking would only make things worse, he stood his ground and stared back at the snake. In a calm voice, he began to slowly back away, keeping an eye on the snake's every move. The snake, sensing John's determination not to be intimidated, slowly slithered back into the bushes from where it had come. With the coast clear, John wasted no time in rushing back to the peacock. Gently, he tried to lift the rock off her wing, but it was so heavy that he struggled to do so. With the help of another volunteer, the two managed to shift the rock just enough for the peacock to pull her wing out from underneath it. The peacock let out a loud screech, more out of relief than pain. She looked at John and the other volunteers with gratitude in her eyes, knowing that they had saved her life. The ordeal was far from over, you know. Sure, the peacock was finally free, but those 5 baby peachicks were still trapped under that heavy rock, and they were in serious danger. Without their mom's protection, they were like sitting ducks for any predators lurking around. They wouldn't last long without her care. The volunteers knew they had to jump into action, and fast. Time was ticking, and those little chicks needed a hero. Can you imagine how scared they must have felt? It was a race against the clock to save them, and everyone felt the urgency. With their hearts pounding, the volunteers strategized, determined to lift the rock and reunite the family before it was too late. As the volunteers worked tirelessly to save the peacock chicks, the snake responsible for the attack slithered out of the bushes once again. This time, it made its way towards the peacock, who was trying her best to shield her babies with her own body. Seeing the snake approaching, the peacock panicked and tried to gather her chicks under her wings, hoping to protect them. But the snake was too quick for her and struck, knocking her down. The peacock cried out in pain and fear as the snake tightened its coils around her body. Just when it seemed like all hope was lost, John and the other volunteers rushed in to save the day. They pulled the snake off the peacock, giving her a chance to escape with her chicks. The peacock didn't hesitate. She gathered her chicks under her wings and took off into the air, disappearing into the tall trees of the sanctuary. Once the peacock and her little chicks were safe and sound, John and the other volunteers quickly shifted their focus back to the snake. This wasn't just any snake. It was a serious threat that could harm someone if left unchecked. John, being the go-to guy for snake handling, he's got years of experience and a knack for it, stepped up without hesitation. He knew this was a high-stakes situation, and everyone was counting on him to handle it with care. You could feel the tension in the air, right? Everyone was just hoping he could resolve this safely and smoothly. As John approached the snake, it reared its head and hissed, baring its sharp fangs. But John remained calm. He knew that the snake was scared and trying to protect itself, and he didn't want to make things worse. Slowly and carefully, he reached out his hand towards the snake, trying to calm it down. The snake hesitated for a moment, then slowly began to coil around John's arm. John knew that the snake was still nervous, but he kept talking to it in a soothing voice until it finally relaxed. Once the snake was calm, John carefully picked it up and carried it away from the sanctuary, finding a new home for it in the wild. Back at the sanctuary, the other volunteers were busy caring for the peacock and her chicks. They made sure that the chicks were warm and fed and that their mother was resting comfortably. Days turned into weeks, and the peacock and her chicks thrived under the care of the volunteers. The chicks grew stronger and more active, and the peacock was able to resume her normal routine. One sunny afternoon, John was walking through the sanctuary when he saw the peacock and her chicks playing in the grass. The chicks were chasing each other around, and the peacock watched over them with a proud smile. John couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction, knowing that he had played a part in saving their lives. He remembered the difficult journey that they had endured, and he was happy to see that they were now happy and healthy. Suddenly, one of the chicks darted out from behind the peacock and ran towards John. The little bird chirped loudly, as if thanking John for saving its life. John knelt down and stroked the chick's soft feathers, feeling a deep sense of connection with the animal. He realized that these creatures weren't just animals, they were living beings with emotions and feelings just like humans. As John continued to work at the sanctuary, he encountered many animals who had been hurt or abandoned. But each time he did, he was reminded of the bond he had formed with the peacock and her chicks. He knew that every animal deserved a chance at a happy and healthy life, and he was committed to making that happen for them. From that day on, John and the other volunteers at the sanctuary continued their important work, rescuing and caring for animals in need. They faced many challenges, but they were always there for the animals, ready to give them the love and support they needed to thrive. Together, they made a difference in the lives of countless animals, helping them heal and find happiness. And so the story of the peacock and her chicks became a legend at the sanctuary, a reminder of the power of hope and the importance of kindness. The news of the sanctuary's good deeds spread far and wide, attracting people from all over the world who wanted to learn more about their work or donate to help animals in need. The sanctuary became a beacon of hope for animals everywhere, a place where they could come to heal and find a loving home. Years passed, and the sanctuary continued to grow, becoming a model for other animal sanctuaries around the world. The story of the peacock and her chicks had inspired people to be kinder to animals and to stand up for those who couldn't stand up for themselves. John and the other volunteers knew that their work was never done, but they were committed to continuing their mission, one animal at a time. Whenever someone strolled into the sanctuary, they were greeted by this lovely sign that said, "Be kind, for all living creatures are my friends." It just sets the tone, right? Underneath that, there's this beautiful story about a peacock and her chicks. It's such a heartwarming reminder that even in our darkest moments, hope can bloom like a flower breaking through concrete. You know, it's like when you're having a tough day, and a little kindness or a simple act of love can really turn things around. It's all about seeing the light, even when it feels like it's hiding. If you want to help us create more content like this, please consider making a donation. Your tax-deductible donation will help us produce more videos that bring joy and meaning to people around the world. Thank you for your generosity and your passion for creating a better world for animals. Together, we can make a difference.